please rise. Hearing, Circuit Court of this great state of Florida is now in ceremonial session. All who have a call to please draw near, give attention, and you shall be heard. God saves the United States, the great state of Florida, and the Honorable Court. Ladies and gentlemen, the Chief Judge of the 6th Judicial Circuit, the Honorable Anthony Ron Bellino, Chief Circuit Court Judge presiding.
Thank you, Sheriff, and if all will remain standing and join in the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Deputy Masano.
If you would join me, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody. Be seated.
Good morning. First of all, I want to thank Deputy Mark Masano of the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office for opening the court and leading us in the pledge. And I also want to thank the Competitive Edge dancers. How did everybody enjoy that? So they're from Competitive Edge Dance Company in St. Petersburg. They have won awards for their dancing, as you might imagine. And they have been with us, I wish I knew the exact 7 years. I'm going to say years and years. They volunteer their time. And it's just a wonderful addition and really sets the stage for the rest of the day. So thank you all so much again. I also wanted to introduce some special guests with us. Did you want me to introduce the judge? Or? Okay. Judge James Pierce, who's sitting by himself. And he is assigned to our Unified Family Court, and he will be finalizing some of the adoptions today. So thank you, Judge Pierce. We have retired Pinellas Pasco Circuit Judge Irene Sullivan with us today. Representative Chris Latvala, District 67. Dave Bateman with the Pinellas County Clerk's Office. Brian Bostick, the Executive Director of Eckerd Connects. Sonia Graham, the Senior Director of Growth and Transformation for Eckerd Connects. Dr. Chris Card, Chief of Community-Based Care. Michelle Pedigo, the Program Director for Directions for Living. Heather King, the Executive Program Director for Lutheran Services of Florida. Patsy Stills, the Executive Director of the Heart Gallery, Pinellas Pasco, and Mariella Olson, the Director of the Guardian Ad Litem Program for the 6th Judicial Circuit. So thank you all for being here. Okay, and my name is Gay Inskeep, and I'm the Trial Court Administrator here in the 6th Circuit. And I have been to, thank you, thank you, Judge Pierce. I have been at every single one of these Adoption Day ceremonies that we've had. It's one of our very favorite days here at the court. I was a foster parent myself for 12 years, some time ago, and had the same foster child for 12 years. This was before the 1 year to permanency. But I never have officially adopted a child as you are doing today. I feel like it was the virtual adoption, but we never did end up, for a very long story, finalizing it. But what I did was I went on my Facebook page and I posted a comment, and I asked my friends on Facebook to, if they were an adoptive parent or an adopted child, to give me share some of their stories about that I thought I would pass on with you today. I got a really huge response. I could not believe it. And some people I knew since high school, I never knew they were adopted. So I just kind of summarized those responses. We'd be here all day if I read all of them to you. But from 3 adopted children, one of them said, "My parents adopted all 4 children in our family. We were not related to each other. I remember going with my parents to the hospital to pick up my youngest sister, and I just figured that's the way you got children. You just want to pick one up at the hospital. My parents meant everything to me. They're the only parents I ever knew, and they treated me just like any other parent would treat a child. I miss them every day." The second one said, "My adopted father is the father I never had. He did a selfless thing by adopting me and my brother. He raised us and treated us like his real kids." And then the third person said, "I think adoption is a great example of God's unconditional love. Some people don't want to adopt because they don't know if they could love a stranger. But we've all been strangers to God, yet He has always been there loving us unconditionally anyway. He just patiently waits for us to come to Him. My parents loved me even before they knew I existed. They were just waiting for me to come to them." And then from the 3 adoptive parents, People always say, your kids are lucky to have you. Our reply is always, no, we are blessed to have them. We would have been empty nesters if it were not for these two that keep us so young. I was grateful that a birth mother had the courage to make a difficult and selfless decision to change her child's life. Her child turned out to be a wonderful young woman with a caring heart and a great deal of empathy for others. And finally, both of my daughters are adopted. I never thought twice about it. All that occurred to me is that God blessed me with two wonderful children. In fact, one of them actually looks like me, though both are much taller and do not look much like their dad. But that's all window dressing. Parenting is not biology, it is love. So I just want to take advantage of my time as MC and thank you for taking the step that you're taking today, because you are producing these powerful stories that these people on Facebook just so readily wanted to share with me. So now I get to introduce one of my favorite people, and I'm not just saying that because he's my boss, Chief Judge Anthony Rondolino, and he's going to say a few words about adoptions in the Sixth Circuit. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. And thanks to all of you for coming. On behalf of all of the judges and the staff of the Sixth Judicial Circuit, we really appreciate you coming here for our 15th annual Adoption Day, which is part of the national celebration and observation of Adoption Month. Many of you may know that our country has a National Adoption Day designated, like many of the other significant days. And this year, it's November 17th, National Adoption Day. It happens to fall on the Saturday before Thanksgiving every year. And what a great day it is for the court, for the adopting parents, and most of all for the children who are being adopted. This year, we have an unusually high number of children at this ceremony being adopted who have found their forever families. There are 33 children involved in being adopted into 24 families, and so it's a tremendous day for us all. You know, judges deal with a lot of difficult, painful, and sometimes life and death circumstances in this courtroom and courtrooms throughout our circuit, but to all of the judges and all of the staff, doing an adoption is the most enjoyable duty that judges are engaged in. It's nice to be able to see everyone happy when they leave a courtroom. That's not usually the case. And so for the children, they're now going to be part of a new family. Many have had a difficult journey to get to this point, but obviously the rewards and opportunities from now on are likely to be great. With love, caring, and nurturing, who knows what great things will happen in the lives of these children. They may grow up to be teachers, doctors, judge, but it's even possible they might be like Steve Jobs, who was himself an adopted child. But this is really insignificant, actually. Whether they grow up to be the president or a pauper is not as important as now being part of a loving family. So thank you to those adopting parents and the foster parents who have taken on this joy and responsibility. You are truly special people. It's an immense responsibility to raise a child appropriately, and the importance of you stepping forward cannot be underestimated. You do not have to be perfect or wealthy to adopt. You just need to be loving and committed to having a forever family. And in these tight economic times, it's even more admirable what many of you are doing. There are economic challenges to raising any family. We as a society are indebted to you, the adopting and foster parents, for the service that you're providing. And I thank you, and everyone here thanks you. Your sacrifices are many, but the rewards to you, to the children, and to our society are great. We need so many more people who are willing, like you are, to bring children into their lives. Thank you to Eckerd Connects Community Alternatives for being the lead agency responsible for the safety and well-being of children in the foster care system. And I won't want to bore you with a lot of numbers and statistics, but a little bit is pretty good. Here is one that I think is very significant. Under Eckerd's guidance, there have been finalized 167 adoptions since July 1st, and of that number, more than 30 are finding their forever families today. Other agencies that deal specifically with adoption are the Guardian Ad Litem Foundation of Tampa Bay, the Heart Gallery of Pinellas and Pasco, Lutheran Services of Florida, Directions for Living, adoption-related services of Pinellas. There are many, many entities and people who are not really recognized, who are essential in making these dreams come true. So there are also attorneys involved in many of these matters, and so thank you to all of you, the agencies, the people, the attorneys who assist in these adoptions. Having said that wonderful news, there is a lot more work that needs to be done in this area. At any given time, there are 800 children waiting to be adopted in Florida. And nationwide, there are more than 120,000 children waiting to be adopted. So you can see the need is huge. Today, however, is an occasion for joy. And so congratulations to the adopting parents and adopted children, because people like you, progress is being made. This is a new birthday for many of the children here today. Thank you to the parents for your willingness to care and nurture. May God bless you all in this very important endeavor. Enjoy the day. So.
Now I'd like to invite Brian Bostick, the Executive Director of Eckerd Connects Community Alternatives, to make some remarks and a presentation.
Good morning, everyone. Today we also have, before I get started, we have two proclamations, one from the Governor of the state of Florida, Rick Scott, that Sonia Graham's going to help me with, just going to read a little bit of it, that we're going to present to all our agencies involved in working with the families to get this to our forever families, getting to the point where they can finalize their adoptions.
Good morning. So on behalf of the Department of Children and Families and Rick Scott, I'm just going to read inserts of the proclamation we'll be presenting to the agencies later today. Florida Adoption Month. Whereas adoption provides a unique opportunity to improve children's lives and enrich the lives of adopted families and their community. Whereas every child needs a deserved, a loving, supportive, and nurturing and permanent family. And whereas November 16th, 2018 is National Adoption Day, and the families and children across the nation and the great state of Florida will celebrate the joy of adoption on this day and throughout the month, while remembering our children who are still dreaming and hoping for a loving, permanent family of their own. Whereas adopted families, including relatives and grandparents who have already adopted, many benefits from continuing post-adoption support in days and years ahead. Now, therefore, I, Rick Scott, Governor of the state of Florida, do hereby extend greetings and best wishes to all observing November 2018 as National Adoption Month. Thank you.
Then we have one other proclamation from the Pinellas County Board of County Commissioners. It says Adoption Day. Whereas adoption profoundly enriches the lives of children, their adoptive parents, families, and their communities. And whereas the average wait time for a child in foster care to be adopted is nearly 3 years. And whereas more than 23,000 children age out of the foster care system every year with no adoptive family permanent home. And whereas State and local government agencies and nonprofit organizations work together to raise awareness about foster care and adoptions in Florida. And whereas National Adoption Day aims to help more than 100,000 children in foster care in the United States find permanent loving families. And whereas this annual one-day event has helped thousands of children realize the dream of adoption by encouraging policymakers, practitioners, and advocates to finalize adoptions and celebrate adoptive families. Now therefore be it proclaimed by Pinellas County Board of County Commissioners that November 9th is recognized as Adoption Day. So, and all the commissioners signed it. So this is presented to Ecker Connect, so thank you. All right, so let's get down to the business that we're here for. It is a blessing today because we face a lot of tough days, and this is one of the best days of the year when you work in child welfare for children to be adopted and to find forever families. So congratulations to the 33 children that be adopted here today. We're beyond grateful for the 24 families who have so graciously opened their hearts and their homes to these children. Thank you for all of our community partners, judges, and sponsors who we truly could not do this without you. In 2017, there were 178 children adopted from foster care in Pinellas County, and a total of 319 in this circuit that were adopted last year. But there are still 209 children that are available for adoption in Pinellas County, and we'd love to have a forever family for them. There's still a great need for foster and adoptive parents in our area, and we hope you will consider becoming a foster parent or adoptive parent. Numerous children age out of the foster care system every year without being adopted, but these families today have ensured that these children will have forever families moving forward. I'd like to thank all adoptive families. I'd also like to thank all the agencies who work endlessly to make this happen today and work throughout the year, work with our most vulnerable population. I also like to say thank you to our case managers who have the toughest job in the world, and they do it every day. I want to thank everybody who's involved in this, including the Eckerd adoption specialist, everybody who involved to make this day happen. So I'll just say thank you. It's a great day. Everyone enjoy your day, and congratulations to the children and families as you find your forever families today. Thank you very much.
Okay, now I would like to invite up Lori Cook from the Guardian Ad Litem program, who's going to introduce us to a very special family.
My name is Lori Cook, and I'm a Guardian Ad Litem. I became a Guardian Ad Litem in October of 2014. My first case was two sisters, Anna and Nicole. I was their Guardian Ad Litem from October 2014 until their adoption in June of 2017. My second case was Maddie and Zane. I had met Maddie at a foster home that Anna and Nicole were originally in, and her and Zane were in separate homes for approximately 2 months. I was asked to do courtesy visits with Maddie while at the foster home seeing Anna and Nicole. When a home became available that could house both Zane and Maddie together, Rick and Rachel Ruman, I also became the Guardian Ad Litem for Zane. Maddie moved in with Rick and Rachel Ruman in December of 2015, and a couple days later, her little brother, Zane, was able to join her because of Rick and Rachel Ruman. In October of 2016, Anna and Nicole moved to Rick and Rachel Ruman's house. They had all met and had a bond. Rick and Rachel agreed to adopt Anna and Nicole. Yes, the Rumans went from 0 to 4 in less than a year. This meant finding a vehicle that would transport a new family of 6, and eventually a new home that would give a family of 6 more room, including a room for each child. So each child now has their own beautiful bedroom. At one time, the Rumans were transporting 4 kids to 3 separate schools. Anna and Nicole were officially adopted by the Rumans in June of 2017 for a total of 990 days in foster care. The Rumans also made sure that Zane and Maddie continued having a bond with their biological grandparents, another selfless act. All 4 children are excelling in school They're all active in sports. They've become speakers for the foster care system. They are active in church and are surrounded by lots of new family and friends. Today, after 1,151 days in foster care system, Zane and Maddie are going to be adopted. Rumen, family of 6. They all love each other and show kindness and a bond like any other traditional family. So today I am no longer guardian ad litem Lori. The kids have decided that I will be Aunt Lori. I'm honored for that title. My life has been enriched and blessed to be a part of this amazing journey, a journey that shows the system can work. I'd like to introduce Rick and Rachel Rumen.
Well, thank you, everyone. Really appreciate being here, and it's an honor. My wife always says how I don't get emotional, so this might be one time that you see that happen. So it's a really exciting day for us, and they're going to get to share their stories. My wife's going to share some of our foster and adoption journey stories. But before that, I want to put some character to the faces you see up here. We got, we were blessed to receive all of these children into our home when they were older. A lot of times people think, it's all about younger kids, but there are older kids out there, and it's been obviously, like Lori did that great introduction for us about 3 years ago. Maddie was the first one in the home, but I'm going to go from just briefly oldest to youngest give you a little character about who they are. A lot of times I think as judges, administrators, you're often probably having people run through here so quickly, sometimes you don't get to actually see the finished product, I guess, to put it in a weird way. But that's what you're getting to see today in the celebration that we have. And Nikki, she's our oldest. She's 17. She's intelligent, witty. She loves writing, especially poetry. Photography is her thing too, and she's an avid reader. She's a great planner. She's extremely driven. I know with her, there's failure is definitely not an option for her. And she's one of those great thinkers and questioners. When she makes her mind about something, she sticks to it and she'll debate you. I won't be surprised if I see her back here one day as a judge or a lawyer standing up here. It would not surprise me in the slightest. But she has a really caring heart as well. She's usually one of the first ones that'll just step up and start helping without even being asked, which is great to see for especially a teenager who would probably rather be on Facebook or not Facebook, sorry, Instagram. My bad. Dating myself here. And she's awesome, and most importantly, sorry, Chuck and Jan, she's a Lightning fan, not a Penguins fan like Maddie and Zane. But then comes Maddie. I consider her our firstborn. She's 15. I consider her our firstborn because she was the first one that I still remember that day when she came into our home that day, and new parents not knowing what's going on, but we made it work, I think. And she's just awesome. She's a freshman now, excelling at an academy for engineering. She was in a private school. She was the first foster child to actually attend there. And I know there was some apprehension when, a foster child in a home and a school there. But she made such a great impact on so many of her friends and that she met there. A lot of them are here today, and we're thankful for that. She was actually granted the highest award given at that school, and she got this, speak on behalf of her whole graduating class. It was just really amazing. Voted the most likely to change the world, and I definitely, from her school, and I definitely could see that as coming to fruition for sure. But she grew up faster than she should have. She had a difficult background, which I'm sure she'll share with you. And that made her extremely responsible and observant. That observation skills come in handy because I lose my keys all the time and she's there to find them. And she's better than directions for me. My dad loves Columbo, and we had her watch our first Columbo. I say she's just like Columbo, picks up every little detail that happens. And she's extremely astute, man. She picks up on everything going on, but I love her compassionate heart the most. She's really aware of what's going on with other people which is an awesome trait. She's the kind of kid that'll be, hey, if she sees someone sitting by themselves in the lunchroom, she'll be the one to go over there and just, show a really kind heart towards that person, and I love that about her. But not to be outdone, we have spunky Anna over here. Those that know Anna, 13, you can definitely, I can guarantee you there's never a dull moment when Anna is around. She's a bundle of energy, and that's definitely for sure. She's the real creative one, loves crafts, anything with performing arts. I saw her eyeing out all these awesome dancers here, and she's probably like, I want to do that. I can see that in her eyes there. But she's the one, if there's Spotify playing in the house, it's her, blasted and singing. She's all about just being active. I just love her little characters she makes when she's in the home. She has all these different weird characters, and she just acts them out, and it's awesome. But besides that carefree, fun-loving spirit she has one of the warmest hearts. She really does have a genuine desire to please others. It's just a lot of the little things. Other kids come back from field trips, and they're all excited about what they bought in the gift shop for themselves. Anna's always the first one coming in and saying, oh, I got this awesome thing for Zane or for Maddie. They're going to love it. And I love that about her, that kind spirit she has. And, we owe so much of that to God, though. It's not really us. I mean, we do the best job we can, but they've just been so blessed in their lives, and we're thankful for that. But you'd think having 3 teenage daughters now would be enough. But last but not least, though, is definitely Zane, our youngest here, turning 12 in December coming up. And he's our walking encyclopedia when it comes to animals. Feel free to ask him animal questions. He will know it. Soccer, football, playing outdoors, especially if he could find a stick to use as a sword. I mean, I can't, the imagination on him with the weapons is incredible here, the things he finds. But recently he's picked up chess, which I'm excited about, except he's probably going to beat me soon, so I'm not too happy about that, Zane. But although he's young, he's the youngest one, I'm just so, I don't know what the word is, just happy to see how mature he's becoming. We help out at the nursing home each Sunday with our church, and I didn't prompt him to do this, but he's the first one going into the rooms with a lot of the elderly saying, hey, can I help you get down to the the activity hall? And he talks with them and it does it on his own. It's nothing I encouraged him to do. He just does that. That's just who he is and his character. And it's just such a blessing to see him act out that way, and just, it's awesome. He'll talk with anybody, as you know, feel free to talk to him. He'll be in sales or politics someday, I have the feeling, for sure. But all these kids are amazing, and they're going to share some of their stories after Rachel speaks. They're all honor roll students, funny, and have great hearts. And I do share the same sentiments that one person mentioned on Facebook. A lot of people say when they hear our story, oh, it's amazing what you're doing. That's just so commendable. And I'm like, really no, they're the ones that are commendable. They're the ones that are bringing so much joy and blessing to our hearts. And for any of you guys out there considering ever doing something like this, do it. It's rewarding. I was 46 when I started this journey. I didn't know what was going on. I was, I was fulfilled at the time, but they just bring so much joy to my life, and I wouldn't have it any other way. And my wife will share some more of this journey. Thank you.
Well, this is just such a fun day because I see everybody and their children they're going to be adopting, and I feel the same way. We decided to foster 2 years ago after prayerful thought. I personally came from a background where I was fortunate enough to have amazing giving people influence my life in positive ways when I was a teenager. Adoption was always something that was on our heart, and my husband and I are Christians and wanted to give back in an amazing way in the lives of kids. Many people may think that once kids are older, they're a lost cause or too damaged, and that is absolutely the furthest thing from the truth. Every kid just needs a chance to see, experience, and live in a home that is stable and loving. I stand before you today as a success story of the difference that can be made through caring and compassionate foster families. The day after we completed the classes and were licensed, we received a call from Maddie and Zane. That's quick, the day after. They had been separated and put into foster homes. Maddie was at a foster home with our now daughters, Nikki and Anna, and we were willing to take both Maddie and Zane so they could be together. Maddie came the very next day, and we had her room ready and waited anxiously, but we were absolutely, completely unprepared in every other way. As she stood on our doorstep with her stuffed animals and her freckles, We never could have imagined how our life was going to change. AKA Zaniac Zane. Then came a couple weeks later on Christmas Day as her present, and there were so many happy tears. It is terribly hard on siblings when they are separated because many times that's all they have. Nikki and Anna came to us a year later from the great foster family, the Davis family, and they knew each other and they could share in each other's experiences. All 4 of our kids have all been through so much, and it's incredible to see the camaraderie and strong love that they have for each other. They have all become true brothers and sisters, and we absolutely know that God has orchestrated it all. There were so many challenges, as you guys know. You may look at our smiling pictures and think everything is perfect. Not that that image is a facade, but what I want to say is that it's a moment, a happy, blessed moment. What I want to tell you is these moments get more frequent. At first it's tough, but with time, patience, and much love, these moments become more and more. Rick and I were not parents before, so any sage advice by any parents here, feel free to throw it our way. I'd appreciate it. And all our foster kids came with sadness, anger, fear, and distrust. We had many obstacles to overcome because when kids only see fighting and emotions and turmoil from their past, they act out in those same ways. Little by little, though, we saw their trust and capacity for love to grow and grow. They are the most inspiring young women, and of course, my little man. And they will change this world for God's glory. And I am glad I get to be a part of seeing them grow up, and I'm privileged to be their parent. We are all teaching young minds every day by just living our life. We are instilling healthy eating habits, hygiene, cleaning up, homework, and work ethic. All the hard things that parents do. There are doctors and dentist appointments, so many physical needs. We are also the shoulder that they cry on, and many times you take on their pain. And they rely on our faith and strength for their spiritual needs. What we do as foster adoptive parents goes far beyond food and shelter. We are changing the future with each life touched. Every Eckerd worker here, guardian ad litem, judge, therapist, foster parent, and adoptive family are truly a bright light overcoming the darkness in our community. I'm going to share the lyrics of this song, If We Have Each Other, because it epitomizes today what I feel and my prayer for all those foster kids out there who also need someone. The world's not perfect, but it's not that bad. If we have each other, and that's all we have. I will be your mother, and I'll hold your hand. You know I'll be there for you. When the world's not perfect, when the world's not kind, if we have each other, then we'll both be fine. I will be your mother, and I'll hold your hand. You should know I'll be there for you. Every child needs someone who will be there for them in this way. I'm excited about making that official today for our Maddie and Zane, and I'm so incredibly proud of all our kids. And I'm glad that you will now hear directly from my incredibly smart, brave, and talented girls about how foster care and adoption have changed their lives forever.
Just over a year ago, I can remember standing here in this very courthouse as I had many a time before. Only this time, I can remember thinking, would be the last time. I remember standing before the courtroom doors shaking, in excitement and relief waiting for the signature of the judge to officiate the next chapter of my life. That signature, the finalization of the end of my journey through the foster system, was something that had years ago seemed only possible to me in some distant dream. Today, 2 years later, I stand here thinking to myself, it's crazy how time flies. Never could I have imagined that a child like me, all my faults, all my burdens, all my fears, all my broken memories and shattered dreams could have ever deserved what has been given to me by my forever family. As a teenage foster child, life wasn't just difficult, exhausting, and uncertain. Those are the feelings that burden the heart of every child in the system. But for teenagers like me, being in the system incurred an even heavier weight to bear. I sometimes envied the babies who couldn't realize what was going on, who couldn't understand the direness of their situation, and who didn't have to give up on themselves because people began to give up on them. My entire life, up until I came into foster care, I felt worthless. Between the neglect of my mother and the abuse of my father, my sister and I grew up not knowing what it was to live, but only what we needed to survive. Most children fall asleep at night counting stars. I was lucky to fall asleep at all most nights because I spent so many of my nights counting worries.
Most kids are scared of the monsters under their beds. Well, that's not really a problem when you don't have a bed, for one. And I had fought bigger monsters. Monsters with names, monsters with faces. Monsters much too real to fear fictional ones. My sister and I entered the foster care system in fall of 2014 and spent some time in a group home. You see, it's difficult to place siblings in a home where they won't have to be separated. My soon-to-be siblings, Maddie and Zane, can tell you firsthand what that was like because they lived it. Growing up as Anna's big sister, I practically raised her. Where my parents had neglected and failed, I had stepped up, and that was pretty much my life. And up until that point, Anna was my world. Although thankfully we never had to endure being separated, I can't ever imagine the pain and insecurity that comes with siblings having to be apart. While life went on day by day, I wanted out. I wanted out of the brokenness in my childhood and out of the anxiety and uncertainty that comes with being a foster kid. And as time went by, I was getting older, and it hit me that as I got older, the light at the end of the tunnel got smaller. But God had a plan for us, and one that was far beyond our wildest dreams for our lives. And my sister and I were so blessed to have been taken in by the most amazing foster family in the world. A family who looked at us and chose to see past the hurt and insecurity and the baggage that we bore and saw us for what we really were, kids in need of a hope that only the love of a family could provide. This was something that my sister and I had never experienced before. And that family was so amazing. It was like they opened the floodgates, and with that came a ceaseless outpour of genuine love. And that love was what changed our lives. We're all familiar with the stats that follow children who age out of the system. It's a vicious cycle that has to be broken, and it's broken when people like that family, like my family now, and like all of you, decide to give foster children a chance. This could have been my future. Were it not for the beautiful gift of foster care and adoption, I could have been just another statistic among the numbers. But I'm not just a number. I know that I am chosen forever, that I am loved, and that my past does not define who I am or who I will become. Where I once believed that nobody wanted me, that I was confined to the bleak and inopportune life that I was taught was my only option, all of that changed, and a million doors were opened to me when someone chose to believe in me, to support me, and to prove to me that I did matter. June 1st of 2017, Anna and I were adopted. And since, our life, as well as our family, is like nothing and everything we could have ever dreamed of. Sure, it's crazy at times, but every moment spent together is a gift, and every day has a purpose. I can't even begin to describe to you the transformation that the simple love of a family has incurred in my own life, as well as the lives of my siblings. My sister Anna, for example, before having known the love and importance of a family, she was wild. Today, she is a completely different person, all because of the role that adoption has played in helping her learn and grow and cultivate healthy relationships. I love that she has been able to channel her creative and artistic spirit into a passion for the arts, and I truly believe that she is amazing at everything she does. For Maddie and Zane, whom I have known even before we were a family, the transformation and growth has been incredible. Maddie has come out of her shell immensely, and it has been truly amazing to firsthand experience all that she is and all that she has to offer the world. She has been able to enjoy herself and take advantage of every opportunity given to her. She has cultivated her own style and personality and has developed and driven her ambitions in a way that grants her success in everything she works for. She celebrated many milestones, from exciting birthday parties to her 8th grade graduation to sharing her testimony in front of hundreds of people. These are things she never would have even dreamed of when I first knew her years ago. And now I rejoice in being able to celebrate these alongside her. And Zane, I could talk about Zane the most simply because of the fact that I think he's the best kid in the world. I never thought that I would have ever had a little brother, and one that is as smart as he is. You could ask him anything about any animal you could name, and he'd turn into Wikipedia. But in addition to being smart, Zane is also one of the most caring, compassionate, and kind-hearted people I know. 2 years ago, I don't think I would have been able to say those words. But as the four of us have grown closer together, not only as a family, but as souls whose destinies are intertwined, the young man that Zane has become has continued to awe and inspire me each day. Adoption isn't easy, but it's worth it. The foster system is so often personified by the media in that you only hear the bad stories, and there's good and bad in every story. But there are happy endings, and my story, Maddie and Zane's story, is a celebration of that. Not only in the opportunities and in the life that we've been given, but in who we are. Our story is proof that broken lives can be mended, and, given the chance, become something truly beautiful. For me, I wouldn't be standing here today were it not for the people in my life who decided to give me a chance. Life is so different now from what it was 2 years ago. Like I said, time really does fly. And now, that time has come for my very soon-to-be official siblings, Maddie and Zane. My two angels, this is a day that you will remember for the rest of your life. It marks a new beginning, and one that I feel so incredibly blessed to be a part of. As your sister, not by blood, but by spirit, mind, and faith, I can't even tell you both how much you mean to me, and how immensely glad I am that this day is finally here. For all the children in the foster system, I believe that we all have the chance to make an impact. Each of us has been given the talents and abilities to give and to bless and to pour into children of all ages. It is my conviction to keep on doing so for the rest of my life. Because my life, as it is today, would not have been possible if it weren't for people like all of you. My childhood was spent shrouded in pain and brokenness, and it's something that I'll never get back. But I've been given something even better, a future made possible by the support of the foster community and by my forever family. There's never a dull moment in the room at home, but I am thankful for every second of it. I'm thankful most of all for each one of my amazing siblings. Though we are all different, we are all blended together uniquely by the hand of God, and I can't wait to see what God has in store for each of us. So thank you guys so much. It's truly been a blessing to just be taken in and to feel loved, and just the fact that you're all here, it makes my heart so happy, and none of you know the impact that you have on all of us. So with that, you're going to hear from my sister Maddie now, whom I'm incredibly proud of, and I'm just really happy. So thanks.
I'm just kidding. Okay. Well, good morning. I'm Maddie, as my older sister said, and I just wanted to share a little bit about my background and my story. So I grew up in a very broken family. Both my mother and father dealt with substance abuse issues and drugs and other stuff, and they really couldn't be a parent to my little brother and I. And so I grew up being a parent to Zane, and just how our family and how my parents they weren't true parents. They physically and verbally abused us, and lots of other things that has gone on and stuff. And true parents should love you unconditionally, and my biological parents just couldn't. Zane and I became homeless under our biological parents' care, but luckily for us, our grandparents stepped in and allowed us to have a normal family for once. My grandpa would work, and my grandma would stay at home and have a normal family. Things were more normal, so I can actually finally say I had a normal family. Zane and I could finally speak from our hearts and be safe doing so. Being with my grandparents finally allowed us to be kids and allow me to step back from parenting Zane. I could finally focus on school and have friendships, because what does any other girl want growing up? I've had one special friend, Jessica, that has stuck by my side. I've had one special friend, Jessica, that has stuck by my side ever since everything started to go downhill in my family life. We've been best friends now for 7 years, and she has seen all my ups and downs, and she has seen my crazy things I've been through. But most of all, her and her family has been there for me. The Catterton family has been and always will be my second family. Thanks to them, I truly know what love is and how a family should love one another. Sadly, both of my grandparents became to have serious health issues which affected their ability to take care of Zane and I. My grandpa was diagnosed with NOH, a type of Parkinson's disease, and my grandma had a collapsed lung and was on life support. Then, due to everything that happened, she was in rehab for almost 2 years, and due to their health issues, they were not able to take care of Zane and I. We ended up in foster care. To be completely honest, I was terrified when I got taken from my grandparents. We really didn't know what was going on either. Upon arriving in the system, Zane and I were separated, unfortunately. It was traumatic for both Zane and I. We had never been separated for a long period of time, and let alone not living together. I was practically his mother growing up, and it made sure he ate breakfast, had clean clothes, made sure he did his homework every night before bed. My first foster placement was with the Davis family. It's where I ended up living with 7 other girls. I've only had brothers, so this was a huge change for me. The Davises were such an amazing family, and to get to know them, even if it was only for a couple of months. And I've met my now adopted sisters, Nikki and Anna, while I was there under the Davis care. I finally realized before leaving that placement that sisters aren't bad, and I was going to miss every girl because I built a special relationship with each and every one of them there. My next placement was the Rumen family, and since they were placement where Zane and I both could be together. I had mixed emotions at the time because I was going to miss Nikki and Anna, but I was also very happy to be with my little brother Zane. At first, I was very much out of control. I didn't want them to parent Zane and I because I finally had him back and I didn't want to lose him again. I've changed a lot in the 3 years and I just needed some time. Thanks. I came to the Rumen family 2 weeks before Christmas, and I remember my mom telling me that Zane was coming to live with us on Christmas Day, which he did, and I like to say he's the gift that keeps on giving. Foster care is very tough at first. I didn't like giving up control. I had to let go of my control, which was difficult because I used to being a parent. I learned to rely on God more and realized that not everything was under my control. Over time, I began to learn to control my emotions better. I was able to talk to people who loved and cared for me. I used to put a facade on and pretend that everything was fine and dandy even though it wasn't. My youth group and leaders at Building 28 Church helped me to have friends and confide in things that were on my mind and the questions I had. Honestly, it's wonderful to have strong Christian mentors and accountability partners to support you. My parents show unconditional love to my siblings and I every day, no matter how bratty we can be at times or moods that we get into. My biological parents didn't fully understand the meaning of unconditional love because if they were upset or unhappy at the moment, love wasn't an option in their mind. Soon-to-be adopted parents now show us unconditional love by just experiences of simply being there for when we need them the most. It has always been tough not knowing what tomorrow holds and having a life be turned upside down. But now I know one thing for sure, that I'm supposed to be right here, right now, about to be part of this amazing family that truly loves Zane and I. I've been part of this family for 3 years now, and today Zane and I are going to be officially a Rumen, even though we're Rumens by heart a long time ago. Adoption's only making my heart feelings official on paper. To be able to sign a paper and change my life forever is honestly a crazy thing to wrap my mind around. It's beyond blessing to be part of such an amazing family, loving and crazy family for the rest of my life. I now know my mom and dad have Zane and I's best interests at heart, and they love us both unconditionally no matter what. Today's the day Zane and I are going to be an official Rumen.
Okay, I have absolutely no clue what I'm supposed to do now after that. It's, honestly, that was very moving. So, now I did neglect to say something when I was introducing the speakers. We do have an award that we're going to give them. The namesake is here, the namesake of the award. Judge Irene Sullivan. She was on the Unified Family Court for many years and in some ways became the face of the Unified Family Court here. So I would like to invite Mariella Olson up from the Guardian Ad Litem program, and she is going to give the award for this year. Thanks, Mariella.
Good morning, and congratulations to all the children and the families here to celebrate today. And thank you for sharing that story. There are many individuals that form a team to advocate for permanency for our children in foster care. The vision of the Guardian Ad Litem Foundation is a world where every child has a safe and permanent home with the opportunity to thrive. The foundation, along with the Guardian program and the other partners who help make today's stories possible, are privileged to be a part of this day as we celebrate Forever Families. Wishing to keep Irene Sullivan's legacy alive, we could think of no better way than to create an award in her name, the Irene Sullivan Adoption Advocacy Award. The Guardian Ad Litem Foundation of Tampa Bay is honored to sponsor this award. This award was designed to recognize and honor an individual who exemplifies advocacy for adoption, an unsung hero, someone who works tirelessly behind the scenes with often little recognition, helping other children to find their forever family. On behalf of the Heart Gallery of Pinellas and Pasco, the Guardian Ad Litem Foundation of Tampa Bay, and Eckerd Connects, it gives me great pleasure to give this year's award to Connie Galbraith. Connie was nominated by Directions for Living. The nomination said, Connie is a vital asset to the adoption process. She currently sits on the art committee and is able to give insightful and thoughtful feedback. Connie is unbiased and truly does what she thinks is in the child's best interest. She is willing to stand up for what she thinks is right. Connie has great rapport with everyone she comes into contact with and often gets compliments. Connie began her service as a volunteer in 2001. In 2007, she joined the staff at the Guardian Ad Litem program. Sadly for us, she retired this past October. I have had the honor of working with Connie since 2001. In her role as a volunteer, we worked together at staff at the Guardian Ad Litem program, and just in the last 2 years as her circuit director. The words used to describe Connie in the nomination today are as true today as they were in 2001. Judge Sullivan?
Yes. Well, I had the very good fortune of knowing Connie since I first started at the Unified Family Court in 2001 when she was a volunteer. And through that, I saw her become a staff member. And there was no better asset that the Guardian Ad Litem program in Pinellas County had than Connie. And I just remember her greasing through so many difficult areas and making cases work and achieving permanency, and then as a staff member working herself with the guardians who sometimes had problem cases and their own difficulties. She was an asset to all the judges. She was an asset to all the staff, all the state attorneys and the other staff members of all the agencies here. And I'm so happy and honored, and I'm humbled to have this award anyway in my name, but I'm very excited and happy that I can present it to Connie. If she would come up here, please.
Thank you very much. Okay. Okay. Oh my gosh.
This is the award. You want to hold it up so you can show everyone here?
I want to thank Judge Sullivan, who was, as she said, on the bench when I first became a volunteer. It was just such a blessing to work with her because she was so fair and so compassionate to the Guardian Ad Litem's position. I want to thank my director, who's been just an amazing amount of support and guidance through this journey. It's truly a humbling experience. When I got the email the other day, I kept reading it over and over. I was out of state at my son's home, and I read it a couple of times, and then I read it to my daughter-in-law, and I'm like, oh my gosh. I'd like to accept this award on behalf of the Guardian Ad Litem child advocate managers, our attorneys, and especially our volunteers, as well as our staff who work hard every single day to make permanency happen in the lives of our children. And when I look out on all the smiling faces right now of the children who are about to be adopted, and all of the grandparents and parents who are about to become real grandparents and parents, it makes all of the work that I've had a pleasure of being involved in the last, I don't know how many years, all worthwhile. So thank you so very much, everyone, for your support, and for Eckerd Community Alternatives, the two lead agencies who, even though we're not always on the same page, we all try to work together to achieve what we're here for today, which is a wonderful event, adoption. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
No one did it.
It was a shock.
I'd like to just say a couple more words. I would come if I wasn't invited every day to this ceremony, just to see the competitive edge, first of all, and then to hear the stories like the wonderful Ruman family, and to see their connections and how articulate these young ladies are, and how excited they are to have a little brother, and what a wonderful forever family they are. You know, not only are they giving, is everyone out there, the 33 children who are being adopted today, including these and their parents and family, of course you're giving them love. We could see that so much through all of you in the parents' speeches. But and you're giving them a forever family, but you're also giving something that I learned was very important. You're giving them hope. Before I became, and let me tell you why I emphasize that. Before I became a juvenile judge, I thought the word hopeless, the definition of hopeless was like when I opened my teenage son's bedrooms and I looked at the mess and said, you know, oh my gosh, this is hopeless, right? But when I became a juvenile judge, I saw many children, foster children, crossover children, delinquent children, who had no hope within themselves. They had no hope for what would be in their future. They didn't know, you know, if they'd age out and go, you know, bounce around in foster care, or age out and not go to college, or not have anyone to help them get a job or open a bank account, or how to find an apartment, how to drive, all those things. They had no hope. So what you're doing by adopting them, and this is to everyone out there, and the Rubens know it, is giving them hope. Hope for their family now, and hope when they become adults, that they'll have someone to mentor them, care about them, go to Thanksgiving dinners with, you know, have that continued hope throughout their lives. And when they have children of their own, they'll have grandparents. They know they'll have grandparents who will love and adore those children too. So they have hope now because of what you're all doing, and thank you all so much for it. Thanks Competitive Edge too.
Okay, just really quickly, we're going to have another performance by Competitive Edge, and then I will get back up here and tell you what you're going to do next, getting closer, and then we'll have the Chief Judge is going to close the ceremony, and then you'll go on with your day. So.
All right, the judge always has the last word, right? This is going to be more than one word. We hear as judges a lot of things in these courtrooms. You never hear anything more inspiring than what we heard today. Let's give them a big round of applause. Court's adjourned. Thank you.